me, payments is the heart of money management. What goes in and goes out, every weekend, where are you spending? I can plot your whole personality with where you walk in and what you shop. And in that sense, credit cards is a very, very interesting product. The very first product that Hyperface launched was India's first customizable credit card, the AU Bank Lit card, where the customer can choose the benefits. Instead, we just inverted what traditionally a credit card is. I feel the credit card experience today is broken. People don't really know where their reward points are, how do they redeem their different benefits, or even track something as simple as their milestone. That is a problem that we at the heart try and solve for at Hyperface. One thing you all need to remember about bankers is bankers don't offer any free lunches. Okay, you take a personal loan in 2 years, 3 years, you prepay the loan, you're gone. You take an FD, the FD matures, no guarantee you're going to come back. But typically in a credit card, with all the data, if you're able to give him a limit increase, if you're going to give him a variant upgrade, that customer sticks for a much, much longer time. In retail banking, credit cards is seen as a crown jewel product because if managed well, it could be one of the highest ROI products in terms of spread.
Today, I have the co-founder of Hyperface, Aishwarya Jaishankar, with me. Hyperface is a technology service provider for banks and in fact any brand that wants to launch a credit card. There's a lot to learn from her. Let's see what goes on behind the scenes, what banks do, what they think about when they're launching credit cards. Hi Aishwarya.
Hey Ankush, how have you been?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks a lot for having me here.
No, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I've been wanting to speak with you for a long time. So first of all, please share a bit about what Hyperface does. Yeah.
So even before that, I've been a banker turned entrepreneur.
Okay.
I started my banking career back in 2005 in credit cards. I was the loyalty program manager. So since then, credit cards has always fascinated me.
Okay.
Last 10 years of my banking career, I was leading digital initiatives and digital products. I launched one of the largest digital savings accounts in India, and my co-founder founded JustPay prior to this, so I got lucky in finding the techie co-founder, so to speak. Like I said, credit cards has often been a product that has fascinated me immensely, and Hyperface, what we do is we help both banks and brands create some fantastic digitally intuitive credit card programs.
Okay.
Going back to why credit cards excited us, because your payment products, I mean, we talk about payments all the time, and you have banking products, your fixed deposits and whatnot. And lastly, you have lifestyle engagement products, which I feel are very less in banking. Credit cards is one product that saddles between the three, right? It is a payment product. It is a lending product. So at its core, it's very much a bank product. And lastly, it is a product that very much tells you what the customer sees and does. The kind of insights that you can garner from credit cards is fascinating. And the level with which you can engage with the user. Right? Because purchases of money, we often talk about money management in terms of investments and whatnot, but to me, payments is the heart of money management. What goes in and goes out, every weekend, where are you spending? I can plot your whole personality with where you walk in and what you shop. And in that sense, credit cards is a very, very interesting product and to build for in terms of technology. The very first product that Hyperface launched was India's first customizable credit card, the AU Bank Lit card, where the customer can choose the benefits. Instead, we just inverted what traditionally a credit card is. A credit card comes to you with a set of benefits. It's a travel card, it's a grocery card. A Lit card is the customer's card. The customer can make it into whatever card they want. That's what our platform allows you to do. We have launched Ixigo co-branded credit card, which is again India's first travel special credit card. We are launching more co-branded cards with our partners Federal and AU in the coming months. We have also partnered with a large bank for a very innovative platform which will allow their users to track everything about their credit cards in a single place. I feel the credit card experience today is broken, right? Except for the few interested active customers that they follow your portal. People don't really know where their reward points are, how do they redeem their different benefits, or even track something as simple as their milestone.
Yes.
When you take a credit card, it is a bunch of fancy promises, but where do you track all of them?
Right.
That is a problem that we at the heart try and solve for at Hyperface. we equip banks and co-brands with the right kind of APIs and platform for them to deliver a superlative user experience, Ankush. That's the heart of what we do.
So, how I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is where banks lack in technology because they can't move fast and because they cannot be as dynamic when it comes to startups. That's where Hyperface comes in and help them build better technology and faster.
Absolutely. I would say that the core of credit card technology is fantastic,
Right.
right? Your billing, ledger,
Yes.
your free points, all that computation. But when it comes to rendering it to a user in a
Right.
meaningful manner,
Yes.
is where banks today, I wouldn't say the word struggle, I would say that that's not the core of what they do.
Right.
And when a platform like us comes in saying you can deliver a 10x, 100x user experience, they're more than happy to lap it up. When we
Understood.
started, we were meant to be for co-branded credit cards. Till a large bank told us, I can use all this for my own users, and we were more than happy to extend the platform.
True.
So it is about moving the customer experience envelope in a significant manner,
Right.
because credit cards have always been and will always be about what great offers and benefits and rewards that the users are getting.
Right.
You need to make it come alive for them, and that's where we help our banking partners.
So even though a user will not see the name Hyperface on a credit card, but Hyperface is focused more on how that user experiences the product rather than what the bank wants or does.
Absolutely. We think API first. We think customer journey first, in fact, and go backwards and build our APIs.
Right.
Things like our milestone API or auth to EMI conversion came about thinking, what does the customer want to see?
Right.
It has often been, what does the bank want to offer?
Yes.
And I would like to think that's where we are different from the typical core banking platform, which are built on top of a scheme network rails. We in fact are not even what they call a switch, which is something that's a very hardcore engineering platform. We sit actually on the middle layer on top of the existing core systems of the bank,
Understood.
so that we are able to reimagine and powerfully solve for user experience.
Great. I definitely see synergies in what we are trying to do and what Hyperface does. Hopefully, we can work together very
Absolutely.
soon. So, okay, now I also want to understand, because you have worked at banks yourself, and now you're partnering with many banks to launch their products. So, what goes in the banker's mind when they want to launch a credit card product? What all do they think about? What all do they see? How do they decide what kind of product to build for whom and what all features to put on it?
That's a large question, so
Yes.
I will break
Yes.
it up into pieces. See, one thing you all need to remember about bankers is bankers don't offer any free lunches.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Credit cards as a product is a fairly interesting one for banks for two reasons. One is it's mostly a perpetuity product. What do I mean by that? You take a personal loan, in 2 years, 3 years, you
pay it
repay the
off.
loan, you're gone.
Yes.
You take an FD, the FD matures, no guarantee you're going to come back.
Exactly.
But typically in a credit card, with all the data, if you're able to give him a limit increase, if you're going to give him a variant upgrade, that customer sticks for a much, much longer time.
Right.
So it's a stickiness builder product which every retail banking executive will love.
Yes.
Right? Because every brand is today obsessed with users not coming back to them.
Right.
Anything that builds that repetitive value is something that bankers would love. A. B. When it comes to revenue levers, while it's a very huge cost outlay product to launch a credit card, bank has to set up those core systems, bank has to invest in certifications from Visa, Master, RuPay, bank has to build those partnerships to offer rewards and benefits. So while there is a huge cost outlay, there are multiple revenue levers within credit cards. One revenue is what they call as interchange.
Right.
The second one is if the customer is converting to EMI products or revolving and paying you interest.
Right.
The third is fees
Yes.
and other processing fee, late payment,
Yes.
etc.
All types of fees and charges.
So all kind of fees and charges. So there are multiple revenue lines. While
Yes.
it is definitely a product that needs a very robust risk management.
Yeah.
But it is also a product which allows for interventions regularly.
Right.
You can very easily smell that when a guy goes 6 DPD or days past due and he has never done that,
Right.
your red alert bell can start ringing much earlier.
Right.
Spend patterns itself could be a detector. He has never spent so much. Suddenly, why is the limit utilization?
Yes.
So there are multiple ways you can analyze the data and keep the book under control.
Okay.
So banks prefer launching credit card programs once their capital or deposit mobilization goes to a certain extent, because
Right.
In fact, in retail banking, credit cards is seen as a crown jewel product because if managed well,
Right.
it could be one of the highest ROI products in terms of spread. Because Ankush, just look at the interest rate that you can charge, right?
Right.
It is easily 3 times.
Yes.
Of course, only maybe 20% of the customers end up paying that level of interest.
But a
even
lot
at
of them
that point-
convert to EMIs at least, yes.
EMI is a nice middle ground,
Yes,
right?
yes.
What globally was pay later in India, I think, is your credit card product converting to EMI,
EMI,
right?
yes, true.
So I think those are the reasons why banks are attracted to credit cards.
Okay.
Now we come to the second part of your question, which is the who
Yes.
and what to offer to them.
Yes. Yes.
Here, I would say it depends on the bank's retail banking strategy, because you should always remember that the bank has not set out to just offer a credit card. For example,
Yeah.
for a bank which is very keen on partnership-led models, right?
Yeah.
On the liability side, they're partnered with fintechs, etc.
Yeah.
In a credit card, you can take it for sure that they'll be launching fintech co-brands, they'll be launching larger co-brand partnerships, etc. For a bank which is typically grown organically,
Yeah.
their own users, they might launch credit cards only to offer to their own user base to
Yes.
begin with.
True.
They might say that there are millions of my own bank customers that I want to give credit card to.
Yeah.
Why would I go out and launch anything
And
else?
they already know about those customers, so
Correct.
the
And
risk
it gives
is
the
lower.
confidence. They've
Yes.
already mined those users. There is data which tells you these are good profile users.
Acquisition cost is zero.
Absolutely. Now you're getting the bankers this thing, right?
Yeah.
The third set is a bank which is very clear that I am doing it for incremental users.
Okay.
It could be that the fourth, which is very true, and I've had bankers telling me this, is credit card is a going back lifestyle product, right?
Okay.
Every time you're pulling it out of the wallet, it creates a brand reinforcement.
Right.
And when I give quality credit card product, the quality of users go up.
Right.
So there are banks which might say, oh, you know what, I'm seen as a microfinance guy or a rural guy or a semi-urban guy.
Yeah.
I want to give a cool credit card so that I become one of the cool. That's also possible.
Right.
So it goes back to the strategy of the bank. Once you arrive at your strategy,
Of
right,
who
or
to-
you
who
know
to
your
launch
strategy,
for,
the
yeah.
second part is you cannot be everything for everyone. I'll
True.
reason Jack Trout, right?
Yeah.
No product can be everything for everyone. So you zero in on the user.
Right.
Very simple. What is the demographic profile I'm going after?
Yeah.
Is this person going to be new to credit cards, or is this person going to be somebody who has a basic credit card, or it could be somebody who already uses all the affluent cards in the market and he's a shrewd shopper.
Right.
For the bank which went for brand value, maybe they want to tie up with the diners and launch a very fancy diners card at the first go.
Right.
For the bank which is saying it is for my own users, they say, you know what, I'll just start a normal
Basic
card
card,
with
yeah.
normal features which my guy can immediately be given.
Yes.
Right?
Just
I'll
for,
learn
just
this
for a
business
credit
and I'll
line
scale
maybe.
it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is where something called a CVP comes into place.
Okay.
CVP is customer value proposition.
Right.
One of our banks gives railway pass lounge access free.
Okay.
Why do they do that? Because they've undermined the base. Their strategy is very clear that I want to go to the middle India.
Okay.
The middle India and as we all know,
Does
there are
not fly
three
as
Indias
much.
now. The latest Indus Valley report says it's 3 Indias now. And
Yes.
we said Bharat and India, and thankfully people are recognizing the middle India more and more. The railway lounge access is very critical
Yes.
because this guy is sitting in a tier 2 town and maybe their main mode of travel is railways.
True.
And that's the person I'm going after. What's the point of giving airport lounge access?
Right.
So it depends on, so everything follows from A, what is my broader strategy? B, even within my strategy, who's the person I'm going after?
Right.
What are they located? What are their aspirations? Right? And there is this whole concept of discretionary spends and non-discretionary spends,
Right.
which you all should know about. Non-discretionary are items even where you want, like a medical.
Yeah.
Even if you want, you can't spend more on medical, right,
Right.
Ankush? You and I can only, if we get a disease, great, that month the jump spends up.
Right.
Petrol.
Yeah.
I have a car, it will only take so much petrol.
Right.
But in non-discretionary, your restaurants, your apparels, that's where you can go to party. Grocery, I can't.
Yes.
So what happens is banks also decide based on all these parameters, is this card targeted toward a mass customer,
Yeah.
an affluent, there is a mass affluent, there is a premium customer, there is a super premium customer.
Yes.
As you go up in the pyramid, right, the non-discretionary spends sort of are going to say the discretionary goes up, which
Right.
is why you will see more of cashback products in the lower rung.
Right.
Because in lower rung, it's very easy to predict an average spend, etc., etc. But as you go towards super premium or upwards, the customer might even be spending 10 lakhs a month.
Right.
Now, there the benefits
hard to
will
give
mostly
cashbacks,
become kind versus cash.
True. Understood.
Why?
Which may be redeemed, may not be redeemed.
May
so
not be
hurts the
redeemed.
bank
So that's
less.
what bankers call as breakage.
Right.
So when a CVP is decided, I mean, bankers being bankers, they can't resist their Excel sheets, right? A very detailed Excel sheet is put out with potential assumptions on cost, potential assumptions on every line item of cost that has been taken. If I want to give 4 lounge access in a year, what does that cost?
Right.
Against that, what is the spend going to be?
Okay.
What is the total average outflow? Here, average is the important way metrics, because you might be using lounge access 20 times a year, but I use it only 2 times a year.
Right.
That's just 11, right?
Right.
So that is how portfolio averages out.
Okay.
So while we might think that, oh my God, people are using it so much, that's always the top 5%, 10% active users.
Right.
Most of the cards, I mean, the other big challenge that card issuers were having is cards were not getting activated.
Right.
Once activated, you have to become spend active.
Right.
Once spend active, you should be the highest used card in their wallet. Those are the things that bankers go for.
Yes.
And budget for.
Yes.
So coming back, there is a detailed Excel sheet with all those modelings, what's called as a cost benefit analysis. They arrive at that, what you call as the CVP, the customer value proposition on the card. They identify the partners they want to work with, and that's how they go about launching the card. The card is getting designed. You get approval from the schemes. And if it's a co-brand partner, you arrive at the revenue sharing, etc. with the co-brand and you. What is the level of user experience you want to give to the co-brand? Your card design, your welcome kit, everything is constructed around that user who was profiled, right?
Right.
I mean, what is the point of giving one superior unboxing experience for a user who's in a tier B town?
Right.
It might be more functional because the courier service there might be more sketchy.
Right.
So everything has to be taken into account, right?
Yes.
Who's the more digitally savvy one? Who's the one who would prefer digital activation? How is my activation and life cycle program going to be?
Right.
Everything is designed keeping in mind that user persona that was constructed in the beginning.
Okay.
It keeps going back to that, and it keeps getting reinforced through the amplifier, through the communication that is done on the card, etc.
Right. Okay, now a question which is personally very relevant to me. So, like you said, so when banks do this cost benefit analysis, they take certain assumptions. And a lot of them, the big banks at least, they also have a lot of data from their users, right? So, they have something to begin with. Let's say I want to take an average number of lounge visits per card. So, maybe a bank who's already operating and has launched several cards, they already have a good assumption on that number. Let's say a fintech, let's say Multiply, wants to launch its own card. How do I go about starting that, building that CVP? How do I make those assumptions?
So this is where I would say, we often say credit card industry is incestuous, sorry for my language. A lot of people move around, right? I mean, today if I were to, so I was in HDFC Bank 2005 to 2010.
Right.
My colleagues who were then in the product and portfolio team, today I see them in all the major banks.
Right.
So there is a lot of muscle memory that's built up.
Right.
We all remember those dud variants that were launched and the great variants that were launched, and what were the profitability levers. Even if you today go to a partner who does lounge access, they'll be able to tell you, okay, what is this base? Who are you going? So there is a broadly agreed spectrum and numbers for this. This is
within
an
the
industry.
industry.
Yeah, I mean your schemes.
I see.
The amount of knowledge a Visa or a MasterCard or a Rupee you're sitting on that you can draw upon.
Yes.
So even if you're a young fintech, I mean somebody like us, Hyperface, we are happy to handle these fintechs and tell them typically what to expect in their P&L. So
see.
there is a lot of knowledge that's available and tappable.
Right.
One of the large travel cards launched recently hired from someone who had launched the credit card program for 2 banks.
Okay.
So that person knows this, right?
Right.
I mean, so for someone like you, is this available off the shelf, published? No.
Yeah.
But like a lot of things, if you network, if you ask the right questions to the right people, you'll get these answers.
Right.
And also, as your value proposition gets more and more finessed,
Yeah.
some of these assumptions, you will have to build it in your own mind about your user.
I see.
If you are traveling or creating a travel specific card, it's a given that lounge access is going to be higher consumption.
Right.
Because you're going for a persona which is keen to travel.
Right. For
Where
example,
would
a
it give?
Scapia. Yeah.
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 So where would it give? So I want to give a better forex. So where can I make money? So these trade-offs will become clear as you keep sharpening your user profile or user persona.
Right.
But there is some amount of what would I call as a collective muscle memory of the industry. Mota moti itna redeem hota hai.
Right.
Mota moti itna launch access and averages. Remember the word what I said,
Yes,
right? It
yes.
comes down to averages.
Yeah.
And you can assume in any portfolio, right, about 10 to 15% will be the abusers.
Obviously.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, then you come down to people who are moderate users.
Right.
And then you have the laggards. They don't even know how many reward points and benefits they're sitting with.
Yeah. Yeah.
This mix also decides your usage.
Right.
Especially when you're going after a younger customer base, the abusers are higher because they're more aware.
Right.
They come to platforms like yours, actively compare.
Right.
And I mean, maybe abusers is the wrong word. They're very active and engaged users is a better word, right? But for the bank, from a cost point of view, they're going to be burning or guzzling a chunk of the cost kept aside for rewards.
Right.
So you need to be very aware of who the user is, where are they consuming this information,
Right.
right? And accordingly structure. That's how there are leeways within the program. For example, you would have seen that there are max caps.
Yes.
There are max caps for redemption.
And then there are exclusions. Certain
Yes.
categories are excluded altogether.
Especially when they see they're getting gamed.
Yes.
Rent is of late
obviously.
a big example, right?
Yes, yeah.
When it started, people are happy getting reward points,
Yes.
right? Then off late, the other noise I'm hearing is low interchange, like your insurance and everything where government caps interchange.
Right.
So these kind of things, see, the intention of a bank is not to starve you of the benefits.
Right.
But at the same time, everyone needs to make money.
Yes.
That's the larger thing, right? Because there is revenue on the table, there is they're okay to share it. But the day it becomes an abuse and it's a bleed on the balance sheet, that's when you see banks course correcting. That's when you see them repurposing the whole rewards and everything, right?
Right. Right. And there's been a lot of that happening in the last 2 years.
Absolutely. I think it's because users are becoming aware.
Yes.
Right, and at some point of time there is a fine balance between this is a product that's a facility and a convenience, which is what it is. At its heart, you're getting a free 45-day credit period.
Right.
Well, nobody today values it. If you think of it, if you go ask somebody who doesn't have access to credit, you'll know what a boon it is.
Right.
Especially for most of the salary class which has credit card, our whole working capital, so to speak, is moved by 45 days. We're all enjoying 45-day free credit period,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then comes all the perks.
Right.
So it is very important for banks to keep a judicious mix of this product already offers something.
Right.
Right? It's okay if I cap certain things, but it goes back to, but if you were a bank that went after actively to a user which has 3-4 cards already,
Right.
then you have to keep playing the game. There is no choice.
True. And so this part where you said a lot of people don't value or don't think about the 45-day credit period, credit-free period so much. So I have a very interesting story on that. So one of my friend's driver, he got approved for a credit card for the first time, and he withdrew money from ATM using that credit card. Yeah, ouch. That's what our reaction was. So my friend asked him, do you know you just paid 2.5% processing and then 3.5% monthly interest on it? He's like, yeah, I know. But this is still way cheaper than the rate at which I get money informally from lenders. He was extremely happy paying that 6% on that credit card because he was normally getting money at 20-25% informally. So that it's actually understated these benefits of 45-day credit-free period, and in fact even for people like him, the facility that you can withdraw cash from the credit cards.
And it's a revolving credit as they call it.
Exactly.
Right? You pay back, it gets refurbished.
Yes.
And trust me, I mean, one of the biggest findings around credit in all the global reports is a line of credit.
Right.
Imagine a farmer having a line of credit. What a
Right.
delight it will be,
Exactly, yes.
We do not appreciate, and I mean, I think much of our viewers would be salaried, premium institutes,
Yes.
got into a super best company, नौकरी 6 महीने में credit card मिल जाता है.
Right.
If you go ask these drivers of the world or people who do not have access to credit, you will realize what a valuable product we're sitting on,
Yes, yes.
At its core, it helps you manage money very efficiently.
Right.
Right? And especially in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
I mean, not all of us are super planned for emergencies and 6 months kitty tucked away and you're all starting careers, etc., etc. That is where a product like credit card can be very useful as well. You can convert to an EMI. You can manage emergencies much better with a credit card. So these are all like without any feature what you're getting. Suddenly there is an emergency. Suddenly there is an expense in the family that you have to cater to. Your
Right.
credit card is the best port to go.
Yes.
So-
So I was talking to Kamalika, you also know her. So she was able to airlift her mother in an emergency with the help of her credit card.
Lovely.
She a service that would have costed some 86,000, I think she ended up paying 6,000 for that. That's such an amazing story. You could do something like that with credit cards, right? She just called the concierge and they were able to help her.
Yes.
So
So those are the things you need to remember, the power of collective that we spoke about, right? Because let's face it, there are annual fees on credit cards, etc., etc. Think of it as an insurance premium when you see all those benefits.
Right.
When you take a card which comes with a 24/7 concierge benefits, which asks you for a annual fee, you're actually paying for all those benefits, and it's
True.
like an insurance in itself, you know.
Yes. And that's a very fair point. A lot of people, stick to free cards. That's okay. Maybe when you're starting, that's fine. But that does not mean that paid cards are bad. They bring in a different sort of value that free cards cannot.
I don't think Amex ever does free cards, right?
Yeah, they don't.
do invitation only paid cards, and there are people who are taking it
Exactly.
proudly, right? I mean,
They're-
and it's not just India; it's globally.
Yes.
You bring in value. I don't think the money is the issue here. The
Right.
value and uniqueness of the card is what the user is looking for.
Yes, and so American Express has this platinum charge card, 60,000 plus fee, selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
I don't find a place in their exclusive lounge nowadays because it's full. So many people have taken that card, right? Aishwarya, you started in banks with credit cards 19 years back, and now you're back again with your own startup and in credit cards. What's the difference you've seen in the industry, or maybe the users, anything? What's the difference you've seen in the credit card market? How was it 19 years ago? How is it now?
You know, that's a fairly interesting question. I've been building Hyperface. It's 3 years now. I mean, I've been thinking credit cards deeply for the last 3.5 years back again. What fascinated me about credit cards back then and now, like I said, is the amount of customer psychology that's required to understand the user. You know, where are they spending? What are they doing? Interestingly, I launched the Smart Buy web portal in HDFC Bank.
Oh, you
I
were
was
the
the
one.
product
Oh, wow.
manager
Okay.
acquiring, and I launched Smart Buy. So at that time also, we deeply thought about this whole credit card benefit layer, because Smart Buy is a fusion if you think of it, and
Right.
whatever we wanted to build then today, it is a plus in the Smart Buy app.
Right.
The reason why I'm bringing up is the user psychology, I would say, has sharpened.
Okay.
Customer needs have evolved a lot.
Right.
But when I look at the back-end system, sadly, right, the same system that I saw 19 years back is still what banks are using.
Right.
There has been no advancement. I mean, I was just telling you about the Hyperface Smart Benefits engine.
Yeah.
Today, bank operations teams are doing the computation for an offer and sending email requests.
Right.
We live in the era of APIs.
Right.
For example, in the lounge access feature that we have built for Lit Card, customer can click a button and get the QR code for the lounge access.
Right.
To me, that is sadly a gap for a product that spins profit. The level of user experience that the users are getting, in my mind, is can be significantly better.
Right.
And in a way, I feel a lot of gratitude that I am getting to build a technology company that can power that.
Right.
At Hyperface, every day we talk to banks. For example, there is a bank with a every bank actually, how do you get your welcome gift? It's a very broken process.
Right.
How do you track your annual fee waiver? Nobody knows.
Yes.
You get an email, maybe if the bank is a little conscious, 9th month you'll get an email.
Right.
Right? How do we make them into fundamental tenets of credit card usage is what we're thinking at Hyperface, right?
Right.
Can I make Milestone an API? Can I make offer automation platform a viable plugin across different core systems on credit card?
Right.
It should sit on top of anything. I do not want banks' operational run part of credit card to be a significant investment over time.
Right.
That's what Hyperface will aspire for, make the user experience easy and intuitive. And co-brands, right from fintechs to e-commerce to neobanks to retail fronts, Hyperface wants to work with every one of them and make this really simple, because at its heart, Ankush, the country barely has 3% users having credit cards. We
True.
just discussed the joy of having a credit line. I
Yes.
feel it should reach a lot more people.
Yeah.
And again, I feel a lot of gratitude to be building this and feel very inspired to build for the next 100 million credit cards. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, no, I find it really fascinating how you put it, that the users have evolved a lot in the last 19-20 years. They are more conscious, but the banks proportionately or their technologies proportionately has not grown like that.
Yep.
The experience has not grown like that. I love how you put it, and thank you so much for building Hyperface and solving this. I'm sure a lot of banks will start adopting this and start giving better experiences to their users. I've already started seeing some improvement. Axis Bank has already started making their app better. I think that also had something to do with their acquisition of another fintech, Freecharge.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, with Hyperface, I think a lot many banks, like you've been telling me, are adopting it and will make the experience better. Great. Any tips for new users who are getting into their first jobs and getting their first credit cards? Any tips for them from a long time banker?
I remember getting my first credit card and I promptly splurged and I had to get out of the trap as well. So
Okay.
we've all gone through that. It's fantastic, the plastic, but it's also a little dangerous. Use it wisely. Don't
Yeah.
get too carried away. I
Right.
know I'm sounding like a credit mother here, but see, the reality is anything which is so good will also have the downsides.
Right.
Enjoy the card, enjoy the reward points. Ankush will tell you which is the best cards, how do you optimize the usage, do all that. But be very, very careful with using credit. Treat your credit card as your credit builder for the long term. Tomorrow, with the credit history you built there, you should be able to go get a home loan, you should be able to get a top up. So build it for bigger things. Don't get tempted, because the temptation is very natural.
Yes.
And I think if you sort of reserve the temptation, I mean, the world is all the way up yours. Which is the best category card? Diners Black?
Depends.
The banks are ready to keep upgrading you
Yes.
till there, is what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
use it wisely and enjoy the cards and the perks.
Yeah, a great piece of advice. With some financial discipline, it's an amazing product
Absolutely.
to get to live it large, basically.
Yes.
But yeah, some discipline is definitely required.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Treat it wisely and it will treat you well.
Yes. Thank you so much, Aishwarya,
Sure, Ankush.
for taking out the time and doing this. I love talking to you, and I think I personally learned a lot in this discussion. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.